I was on my other channel called Sister Cerise, and I'm going to make sure here that you guys can hear me. I was on my other channel talking about the situation with Maureen Comey. If you guys don't know who she is, oof, she got fired. And she was, hold on. Okay, she was the prosecutor in the Diddy case, and she was also the prosecutor with the Epstein files. Today, we're going to talk about a lot, but we're first going to get into a little bit of news, here in the Dominican Republic. I'm going to go grab my other cell phone. Give me a second. So, for those of you who don't know what is going on here in Sosúa, I'm just going to do like a little recap, okay? So please bear with me. So the recap is this. On July 12th and 13th, there were a huge amount, copious amounts of different types of enforcement going all around Sosúa, and they were enforcing a new operation called Operation Atlantico. Operation Atlantico. And what it is doing is it is targeting not prostitution per se. Okay, so prostitution is still legal, but the exploitation of prostitution, which means they're going after pimps, they're going after people who are like brothels, who are setting up like homes where people can go in and just do a brothel, and also underage prostitution. So what they're doing is they are just going in and they are, you know, rebuilding Sosúa. What's very interesting is the responses from the locals. Now, a lot of us expats here, you know, it's also very split down the middle. The other day I was on Facebook and there was a guy, he's like, walking down Pedro Clasante feels so great, you know, but we have to support the local bars and the local restaurants. They're closed. Some of them are closed, and there is no business right now for them. And so there's not enough tourists right now to support some of those businesses because it's low season. So a lot of those employees are off work and they already don't make a lot of money. So it's not like they would have had a lot of savings. And many of them, they don't have anything to really go fall back on. It's not like they can fall back on unemployment insurance. It's not like they can fall back on welfare. There is no welfare system here. So even though he was happy walking down the street because he didn't see any prostitutes and he's not into them, the thing is that actually brings in money for Sosúa. Now, so even though he's happy, I don't know, he's living in Sosúa, where he's living here probably for the, you know, quality of living, but also for the lower cost of living. And many people here already didn't go out to restaurants that are expats. Many people cook from home. A lot of people don't go out to restaurants, especially the people who the officials are trying to change the place for, because they're trying to say that they want to make it more family friendly, which I get and I understand. But a lot of the families that are here already, they they are here because of the lower cost of living, most of them, and because of the quality of living, and they save money. So they really don't patronize a lot of the restaurants anyway. So it seems like a lot of the businesses are the ones that are going to suffer, and also the employees who are like single moms who rely on their jobs in order to put bread on the table, butter on the table, to be able to put food in their kids' bellies and make sure that their kids go off to school nice and healthy. So, um, hold on one second. Hey, outside, outside. Outside, my puppy's still getting trained. So when I'm busy like this, she likes to go run all around the house. And yeah, she's still getting puppy trained. She peed today on the floor, so I have to get hard on her. Mm. So a lot of people, unfortunately, are getting caught up in this. But how are the locals themselves reacting? It's a mixed bag. But many of them are complaining about people coming into Sosua. And a lot of the comments are like, you're just coming in because you got bought out. I'm going to read some of the comments right here from one of the news channels that I look at. Not news channels, but hold on one second. No, outside. Okay. So let me see. I'm just going to read a couple of these right here. Terrence, good afternoon, Terrence. How are you doing? Charles, I heard cops were raiding Sosua. They were, Charles. Absolutely. Cleasy, hola, buen tarde, buenas tardes. And Kenneth King, how you doing? Hola. And then we have Miko, the mangoes, the bros and not mangoes. I'm talking about mango. Okay. The real Jamal Flip Flop said it's just temporary, nothing to be worried about. He said he talks to the government officials. Well, let me say this too. We all talk to the government officials. We have some of them on speed dial, right? It's a very small place, but this is a very different operation and it definitely will be temporary. I agree, but we also don't know what is going to happen. It's very hard to predict something when you don't have a point of reference. Just like when the pandemic came, everyone was like, oh, this and this and that and that. Of course, this is not as serious as the pandemic, so don't get me wrong, but it was very unpredictable because we didn't have a point of reference. It never happened before. So we didn't really know what was going to happen. But right now, there are a lot of changes happening. And yes, it will be temporary, but that temporary state really does hurt the town a lot. There are places that are closed down, and without customers, they can't afford to stay open. And without customers, they can't afford to stay open. They can't afford to pay for their employees. And the employees that work there are not foreigners. They are usually Dominican women, and those Dominican women have children. And when you go into any bar, any restaurant, the person who is working there the most are the women. And those are the ones, most of them, 90% have children. I don't know where they're getting money from, and temporary is not an option. So, although I understand that it will be temporary, nothing is permanent in life. Absolutely nothing is permanent in life, not even life itself. But it is becoming a very serious situation. And the locals are very upset about it right now. They are upset, but I would say it's probably like, well, I'm going to read to you guys a couple of comments about what is going on. Apartment R. Yeah, right. And then Cleese says Punta Cana is family friendly. Does um everywhere have to be family friendly? No, not at all. His business relies on passport bros, apartment R says, and that's very true. Tone Polo, travel solo, finger, did voodoo. Kicks and Travel says, do you accept prostitution then, Cerise? Very good question. We understand the effect of what is happening without the prostitution in the area brings the business and money. You see, yeah, it's all a two-edged sword. Do I think that prostitution should be the number one reason people come here and the moneymaker? No, absolutely not. I do believe there should be some regulation. I do believe that women should be able to do what they want with their bodies. I don't believe that they should be pimped. I don't believe that underage women should be targets, and I don't believe in brothels. So, what is being targeted with right now, I agree with. Get rid of the pimps, get rid of the brothels, get rid of the men that want these underage girls 100%. But women will always sell their bodies. That's just something. Do I agree with it? It's not something to agree with. It's not something to agree with. I wouldn't personally be able to do it, but I live in a town where I do have to be careful with what I say, because people are watching and I don't want to put anyone down for what they do or judge them or say what they should be doing with their body. But if they're going to do that with their body, then they're going to do it anyway, right? I would love to see them get an education. I would love to see prostitution regulated if it's going to happen. I would love to see these women have to get a license just like everyone else has to get a license. I know it sounds crazy, but if you're going to have a job and you're going to be making money and you're going to be putting other people's health at risk or their lives, and you should have some type of an identification. Like you're going to these men's houses, you're robbing their safes. Some of these men are getting shot. Some men have gotten shot by prostitutes. Very horrible situations have happened here. And I do believe that some type of regulations do need to be held down. If they're not going to make it illegal, okay, fine. I don't think that a man should be living off the avails and prostituting a woman out. I don't believe in pimps. I come from the hood myself. And, if I'm just going to keep it real, I had a cousin that was a pimp and a couple of cousins that were pimps. And I had a couple of cousins that were prostitutes. And I come from a huge family in downtown Toronto. And coming from the hood, not all my family's from the hood, but I'm from the hood. And my close-knit family, there's 5 kids in my family, none of us were prostitutes or anything of that nature. My parents were very strict and they enforced education, and they enforced that we, go by the rule of the home. And my dad was a very strict Rastafarian, and my mom was even, under his thumb. He was the ruler of the roost, and we all listened to the man of the house. And he would never have any of us um, consider selling our body before getting education. So that's where my mindset lies. But I live in a town where it has been perpetuated and it has become common, and many businesses rely on it. And I don't believe that something can be eradicated overnight. I do believe in educating the girls, and I believe that it's so fortunate that there's only a certain age group of them. Okay, so they're starting at around, let's say, 18, because 18 is a legal age. So we'll say 18, right? That's the legal age of being able to drink, being able to drive, being able to get married, being able to have intimacy with someone. So let's say they start at 18. Most of these girls are not prostitutes after age 35. Most of them are already well on their way to doing other things. So when you look at that age group of 18 to 35 and you look at going in there and cleaning that up, you have not so much, um, you don't have so much damage control from 18 to 30. Let's say even 30, right? So you have like what, 10, 12 years of cleaning up. It can't happen over a weekend, is what I'm saying. And I do believe that Sosua can be cleaned up, but do that, it's such a tough situation. Do I believe that? Let me put it like this, okay? I'm an immigrant here. Okay, I'm a foreigner here. In my country, in Canada, prostitution is illegal, but women still did it and do it. And they run up and down the streets of Yonge Street. The cops go by. Sometimes the cops just make sure they're okay, honk their horn at them, you know. Um, and as long as they're keeping the peace, everything's all right. It's illegal, completely illegal, but women still do it. And here it is legal But for some reason, um, it has gotten way out of hand. And I think that some of these men sometimes put themselves in some bad situations, and that's where story time comes from a lot of the times too. There's some stories that just seem really wild and very uncomfortable and very unhealthy, you know, and it just seems that some of the women do need to be regulated. Now, again, it's a very sticky situation, but I just want to really go over what some of the locals are saying. Um, Let me see. Uh, Jay Quip says, Cleasy visited Toronto, nice town. Okay. Story time derives from lots of men being depressed and lonely. Oh, okay. Where's Milano? Said hi. Hi, Milano. How you doing, sweetheart? Salud. So no, not all the men that come here are lonely and depressed. Like, I think I think a lot of men come here that are hey, um, they save their money, they worked really hard, they got their passport, and they're traveling. And I think travel really does open up the mind, and I think it really does something to the serotonin in the brain. I think it takes away all that depression. So, yeah, there are quite a handful of guys that do seem to be depressed and sad, but then there are a whole bigger group of guys that come here and they bring a lot of joy to these streets. They do. So but story time does derive from people who make bad decisions, whether they are the girls, the guys, or foreigners just doing silly things on their own. It's all around the world. But let's just read right now what some of the locals are saying. I want you guys to hear um, for yourself, and then I'm going to read you guys another article. Um, oh, where is it? Hold on, let me turn this down. It was here. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna find it as I'm talking. Um, Police staff of the city, more than 100 members is taking place. Ooh, I didn't see that one. Hold on. So there's a lot of change with the police right now. Um, so I'm just gonna read a couple of examples. Some people are saying that um, there's people come here for the travel and people come to Sosua for a great time. And there is so much treacherous now because of the interests that they want to sell the strip out to the robbers of the state that come here to take. This is being translated from Spanish, so please bear with me. And then there's another one that says, uh, we need employment. We have no source of employment. And then another person says, um, time you did all this with no drug points. The drug points have not been touched. And then there's another one, gentlemen, wake up those people who are paid to overthrow Sosua. So that's a common thing. A lot of locals are saying that Sosua is being overthrown. Um, And then it said in the 90s to Sosua for Plata and Cabarete, that's Puerto Plata and Cabarete, hundreds of thousands of tourists came until they canceled all flights for Puerto Plata and took them all to Punta Cana. And they left us with nothing. What is the support they are going to give us now? Just words? So what they're saying, that what that was is Punta Cana, what I really want to touch on that comment because that affected me big time. I have friends that love to come to Sosua, during low season. Low season is from May until November. And I have people who are flight attendants and people who, who are teachers and principals and, just friends that I grew up with as well. And this is their time to come. Their kids are out of school and stuff of that nature, and they can't get flights here. They can't. The flights are canceled from Air Canada. And that was an inside job. They used to be able to come here all year round. So now they have to go to Samana, and then from Samana they can take the bus here. And we just found that out yesterday. My friend Chris just found, and he works for Air Canada, and he just told me yesterday, he's like, wow, like I can come during certain months now without having to worry about just coming during high season. And he gets discounted flights. So for him, it's not like he was worried about the expensive flights during November to May, because the flights during high season, they double in cost as well. And so families, from like Nova Scotia, where some of my family is from, Toronto, out west, it's difficult for them to get a flight, financially speaking, because they're paying double costs on everything. They pay for flights. They get here and they pay, like, everything is based on American dollars. So when they get an apartment, it's based on American dollars. Canadian dollars are worthless here. So yeah, that was something that was mentioned here when they're like, you canceled all the trips to Puerto Plata. You opened up everything in Punta Cana. You took so much money away from Sosúa and Puerto Plata, and now you're overthrowing Sosúa, and it's taking even more money now. Um, that's a very good point. Do I agree with it? I understand it. I understand what this person is saying. And another person says, and where are the jobs that are there if tourism is over? This person also says something like, where are the jobs if tourism is over? Another person says, double standards, the beach you took from us. Another person says, very good reason, please. My boyfriend went to Sosúa for the first time and was ashamed as walking with me and my children. Women on the street. However, remember, this is translated from Spanish. However, when we arrived, he said he was in Sosúa. Some people approached him, told him that it was a place where there were many women, that with $50, you could have up to 3 ponytails a day. I guess ponytail means rides. One goes to YouTube and puts on Sosúa on their YouTube, and all you see are men looking for women. And if you put it on at night, in the night of Sosúa, it's even worse. Before I left, I wanted to see what we could do in the area, because we stayed in Airbnb, but nothing. I really think Sosúa deserves a change. It's a beautiful place and with a lot of shine about it. So there's a person that says, she came here to visit with her boyfriend and her kids, and there was nothing for her to do. And girls were going up to her boyfriend, and, she's complaining about the vloggers showing stuff on YouTube about Sosúa, and Sosúa is just much more than the women. Another person says, I agree, that should be done, but not in a single day. Not in a single day can you timber a house without before seeing where the family will go. With this case is the same. This immediate secret will bring negative consequences. So what she's saying with that is, you don't go and take down a house and not know where the family is going to live when you tear that home down. And she's saying that there's a secret right now that will bring negative consequences. So she thinks that there's another reason behind what is happening, and that this is going to bring negative consequences. There's another one. Tourists around the world mostly want to spend time, so it's wrong to attack those parts. And another person says, it's coming along nicely. It's going to be a family city. Hey, hold on, I had to get a puppy out. Loose, out. She's still toilet training. You lay down there or you go outside. You make up your mind. Okay, you lay down. Don't go in the bedroom. She went under the couch. See, she's a good girl. Okay, someone else says, robbery and felony is what we will have, and nobody will say anything there. So this person saying that it will get so desolate here, it will get so desperate here that people will start to rob and they will start to do things that are desperate for money. And another person says, only the poor lose because the rich ask for nothing. Another person, and I'm reading all of these going down the list. I'm not skipping any. I'm going right down the list. Another person says, if you don't make contracts with airlines, here's how tourists arrive. So what he's saying, if there's no flights coming in, how are tourists supposed to come? Another person says, good, bien, like this is great. Another person says, they offer employment and more spots. I think there is something more important than that. Don't quite understand that one. The next person says, damage rising. That means trouble is coming. Another person says, there, this man is right. So that person agrees with that person. The next person says, come eat beaches with us Bavarians. So Bavarians are like the, Bavarians, like Alemans, like Germans. The Europeans, they're saying the Europeans are coming to eat the beaches. They're coming to take the beaches. So come eat beaches with us Bavarians. Another person says, get active and defend our rights. That's not the big problem here. And they want to grab onto that, saying that that's the problem. But what does the mayor's office say? Nothing for the people. Oh, it is complicit in these attitudes, but it's a shame. And shame if where they know that they are all the drug points in all the area, they don't stop the drugs. You with that army, if you are so brave. So what they're saying, if you're coming in with the army and you're saying that it's for the prostitutes, but yet you're not going to the drug points. Shh. No, tranquila. And then another person says, that's good because at the point of drugs, they throw when the police commission knew to arrest people who know us. Well, I don't know what that means. Someone else says, bring textile industries. I myself would teach many people to tease you, to make cigarettes. First, create fountains to finish them. I don't know what that means either. But my God, idiot, if Sosua has his Sona something in hands, because I was born in Sosua and I have 38 years and I always seen the slippery Pedro Clasante. So that's what this idiot says. Okay. Let me see if I can get one that makes sense. Sosua, has Chinese stores and are working, and the Chinese people are still working. There is nothing. The brown tourists went to the super ban and the sacred because the tourist does not like the few months. Oh, I don't know what this is. Okay, I think I read enough. Oh, wait, there's one more here about the president. Meanwhile, Luis Abinader is the owner of the largest hotel complex in Bávaro and Punta Cana, and the Sosuians are still sleeping, and the people say nothing. Okay, I didn't know that he owned hotels in Punta. I didn't know the president owned hotels in Punta Cana and Bávaro. First, I had to form a company to generate employment because Sosua had a lot of time moving money. So the tourists who were coming is behind this. The crisis is reflected at the moment. Businesses are closed, sales went down, hotels are low, the mothers are pulling air for their hungry kids' bellies. This is how the clothes have lowered their sales. Bikers fight for passengers, meaning motoconchos. I think that should have been organized better, thinking against you implement employment on time. They're just saying that motoconchos are fighting for customers. People are having to lower their sales. Mothers are feeding their children air. and hotel sales, businesses sales went down, and hotels are, they have nobody. Let's see. If the government is going to support Sosua with talk as he knows how to. So they're saying support the Sosua with talk. Another person says, what we need from you politicians, don't take all the tourists to Bavaro and Punta Cana. Just take out the criminals. Prostitution, but what do you do for the merchants if planes don't arrive? So they're talking about the planes not coming into Puerto Plata. The locals are very upset right now. They know that with the planes going more to Punta Cana and Bavaro, it is going to get real rough here. And so it looks like it's going to be taking on a whole other different situation. So what they're doing is any tourists that want to come in, they're going to have to come in through Santo Domingo, Santiago. A lot of tourists already do that anyway. A lot of the guys I do know do that anyway because they get cheaper flights already going into, sometimes cheaper flights by a few $100, and they come for like 7 days. And so sometimes a flight may be like, let's say $800 return, and here to Puerto Plata, and they can get it for like 500 return if they go to Santo Domingo or Santiago, and they just rent a car and they drive in here, because they would have rented a car anyway while they were here, and it takes like a few hours for them to drive in, a couple of hours from Santiago, and like I guess 4 hours or whatever from Santo Domingo. So a lot of guys already do that. But again, Canadians that are listening, I heard that you guys can come in from Samana through Air Canada. So there's going to be a lot of changes, and most of the locals are saying, okay, they understand that change does happen, but most of them are saying the change cannot take place overnight because it will affect the businesses and it will affect Sosua. Many are saying that people will get desperate and that people will not be able to pay for their for their food and for their children. And I just want to take it back to when Sosua was a ghost town during the pandemic, and I chose to stay here. I was here only for like about a year and a half at the time, and I didn't even speak Spanish. And I heard that they were closing down the borders, closing down the airport, and they said, Canadians, there's only one last flight out. And I had already made up my mind that I was staying here. This is my home. I'm not going to take off. And so many people said to me, oh, you're crazy. You're going to be eaten alive. The place is going to implode, you know. And so I hunkered down. The whole entire Sosua was a ghost town. Entire Bate. Like, it was so empty. I made videos about it on my YouTube channel, and there wasn't a lot of support coming in from the government, but the Dominican people made it work, and they did not implode, and they made it work. A lot of people from around the world sent in money, a lot of friends, a lot of family, and not just Dominicans abroad, but also people like you who are watching me right now, watching my channel. They made it work. So this will be temporary, and they will have no choice but to, make things work. So what they're thinking is if they stop the flights from coming into Puerto Plata as frequently, there will be less tourism. So there will be less women coming here because the women come here for the tourists. And, I mean, obviously, this is where a lot of money comes. This is where a lot of tourists come. Um, and this is just, it is what it is. I have a terrace, like a balcony. I have a terrace, and during the day, I recently had to start putting food for my puppy Usually I feed my cat and my dog in my house, in my kitchen. They have their little spot where they eat. But because my puppy, I can't trust her to come in and go all the way across the living room, dining room to the kitchen, because she stops at the dining room and takes a little tinkle. So I have to put her food outside. And so now tomcats are coming more. That's where the food is. That's where they're going to come. It's just nature, animal nature, human nature. When there is a large concentration of something that someone can get, they're going to do it. So, what have I been doing? I've been bringing her food in at night. It only happened for like about 3 days. And I only realized because my cat started to sleep outside. She used to come in at night. And then I started to watch her on my camera on my terrace, and I saw that she was chasing away big old tomcats, like he, cats twice her size, because they were coming on the balcony and they were trying to take like the kibbles and bits. And she was protecting the doggies' food. So I was like, oh no, I can't do that. So now I bring in the dog's food, and it wasn't a lot. It was just little kibbles and bits that she might have left in the bowl, and it only happened for a couple of days, but it happened immediately. So what I'm saying is this is just human nature, animal nature, and sometimes we have to regulate things. So now during the day, I put the bowl out still, and so the little puppy can go out there, and she has her own little spot where she eats, but I bring it in at night. So I've learned to regulate the situation because it got out of control. And I believe that that's what they're doing right now as well. It's low season, so they're not going to be able to do it for very long. And just like you said, some business owners are saying that it is temporary. It has to be temporary. Everything is temporary. I don't think they will ever let Sosua just close down. I think it's impossible. I think it's very impossible. So Sua has an energy of its own. It just has this heartbeat that, just it's so strong. It's never going to stop beating. It has an influx of different changes ever since this land was given over to the Jewish families that came from the Holocaust. I believe it was 46 families, or it was in 1946 or something of that nature during the war, and they came here for refuge, and they were just given the beach, and they built the whole entire town up. And after that, they moved out, and a lot of those families still live here, but many of them went to the United States of America and Canada and Europe. Many of them moved back, and then a lot of Canadians came in. Canadians were here for a very long time. They built a whole bunch of homes up in the mountains, like in the countryside, and not here in Sosua, but in the countryside. And many people did come here. But Sosua became more of, like, I would say, even though it's not considered this, a port town, a town where there's like a port where people just come. I know Puerto Plata would be better classified as a port town because it actually does have a port there where big ships go in. But this just seems like the meeting ground, where people come and they meet. And then, of course, it's there's not a lot of things here for families to do. And there's no like huge amount of parks where there's monkey bars, like I said in my other live. So a lot of families don't really target here, because children don't always like the beach. And so you see families more go to resorts, and a lot of families don't necessarily go off the resorts in what this used to be considered and classified as a third world country. Now it's classified as a developing country, and a lot of families don't want to risk that. So it never really was what you would consider a tourist family friendly place. It's now becoming one, and it has potential to become one. But the locals used to come, and it used to be very family oriented before the girls. Yes, the locals used to come here, and the locals used to do a lot of things with their kids on the beach, and it was a very popular beach destination for a lot of the locals and some tourists, but not for expat families, is what I'm saying. Now, that's what they're targeting. That's what their goal is, to bring in expat families. But just like what they're doing with the beach, I think is what they should be doing with Sosua. So with the beach is they took their time. They didn't just go in there and bulldoze every single store. They said, okay, you want to be bought out here, we will give you some money. And those that, got bought out, they took their money, they demolished that store. In the meantime, they allowed other people to still stay on the beach. So it was more of a slow process. They didn't go in there and just tear down the whole entire beach and start building buildings. They gave people a moment to breathe, and they're still doing that. And I think that's probably the best way to do things. Furthermore, they're building the plaza here at this end, in the Charamicos end, in the local end first, before they were building it in on the other entrance where the tourist entrance is. And I believe that, and I've heard some from some politicians, which I don't want to say any names, because during the pandemic, I mentioned some politicians' names, and I even um, showed the receipts as I was doing like a video. I showed a couple of videos where I was talking to politicians, and I just realized that was so uncouth. It was just so unclassy. So I don't want to mention anybody's names that I talked to, and I don't want to say, like, I don't want to show receipts or anything of that nature, just to show you that I'm in the loop and I'm in the know. But you know, uh, politicians, they have been telling me about, just pretty much about the plaza needing to get built slowly. And now that it is low season, they're going to start building the other plaza a lot quicker. And it's going to start being built up a lot quicker. It is what it is. They're going to start moving around tourism. They're going to start moving around construction. But I believe that um, that same mindset that they had with the beach should have been the same mindset with the whole entire Sosua. you know, like, start regulating things differently. Get the girls to register, you know, they want to come here, they want to get a guy, they want to do whatever. You want to protect the tourists, you want to protect the girls, get the girls to register. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it should be done in Canada too. It's a business, it's a big business. Prostitution is a huge, big, popular business. And it can like, look at Canada, even now legalized marijuana. Bob Marley, they legalized it because they realized that it is something that can bring in money, and it's something that's really good. And I'm so surprised that Jamaica hasn't recognized that, or here hasn't even recognized that. It's great for children that have autism. It's great for clothing, hemp clothing. It's great. It's a great medicine as an oil, like even the seed oil itself. Like, I put seed oil on my dog's fur. I buy it on Amazon. It's hemp seed oil. It doesn't have any THC in it. It's green. It tastes like grass. You can drink it yourself. It's great if you need to move your bowels. It's great if you need some energy. It's great on your face if you have any blemishes, any scarring, And I don't understand why colonialism allowed colonialism took away the power of the plant on the islands, because it's a natural resource here and it's a natural resource in Jamaica. And it really should be a hot commodity. It really should be bundled up and sold. But now look, the whole entire Canada is selling. They're making weed with chemicals, hydroponics. That's not a plant. That's just chemicals that make people high and tired, and it react. It's makes people. It's not a plant. It is just a seed that is sprayed with chemicals. You can't really do much with that. How are you supposed to turn that into clothing? Well, in the Caribbean, they have real weed plants that grow in the sun, God given commodity. And it's the strongest clothing you would ever have. A cannabis jacket, A jacket made out of cannabis, hemp, I should say, will last for years, but it's not in the interest of the companies out there because they like consumerism. They like things to not last for very long. So of course they want things to break down. But anything made with hemp, right, everything from the stick to the plant to the seed to the oil is beautiful for anything, you know? And so I don't understand why it's illegal here. I went off track, I know, but all I'm saying is there are so many things that are backwards in the world and things need to be regulated. Um and and you know, there's nothing wrong with regulating things, but there needs to get to a point where you realize that some change needs to happen. They've been doing all this stuff since the 80s. Bill B says, absolutely. Oh, hold on. Let me go. Let me go up a little bit more. The DR. Okay, wait. Ooh, okay. Oh, you guys are really getting in some good comments here. I'm so happy that you guys are here with me. Thank you for joining me again. Um, Straight talk. Let me see. Where am I at? Wow, you guys. Okay, wait. I missed a lot of these comments. Let me just go. Okay. I'm just going to skim some of them. Gringos go to Punta. Malcolm Lord says gringos go to Punta Cana, Boca Chica, Santo Domingo. Other place, DR is a beautiful country, but Sosua is not. It's yeah. Most people come here for the sex trade. That is very true. There is 10,000. Clint said, hey, Clint, what's up, brother? There's 10,000 or more condos coming. Now is the time to strike for minimum wage. Yes, there are a lot of things getting built. La Romana is very beautiful. I've never been to La Romana, but I would love to go. Carl, I'm canceling my trip. I will be back when football starts. I was supposed to be spending time with my girlfriend, but I don't want to risk getting harassed. No, come be with your girlfriend. I'm sure she's going to want to see you. You can't wait till what? Well, the season starts in September, right? The football season starts in September. So maybe you're saying you're going to come in September and not Feb because it's over in Feb, right? Um, Bill, that will be safe. Carl, Bill says, Carl, that'll be safe. Unless you can meet her at Santo Domingo. Oh, you guys, I love you. Sosua is a beautiful place. Sammy Hugo says, hey, Sammy, how you doing, honey? Um, Sammy says, Sosua is a beautiful place with plenty to do, even with kids. You don't have to be on the strip. Hi, sweetheart. Straight talk. I never flew to Puerto Plata anyway. Yeah, straight talk. There's a lot of people that just come in straight to Santo Domingo. They rent a car or Santiago. Malcolm says the street women help Sosua, Puerto Plata villas, taxis, yeah, car rentals, restaurants, supermarkets. They need the street girls. Carl says, I'm glad they're cleaning up. Last time I was there, there were too many older men chasing the young girls. Cleasy says, yep, can't get direct flights from Canada and La Casa. What's up, Cleasy? Um, and Toronto for the end of August, but Punta Cana is available. My gosh. Jonas or Jonas says, I love Sosua. It's the only stamp on my passport. Oh, wow. I saw a majority of white men with very young Haitian girls, but Sosua is the pearl of the Caribbean. You know, Sosua is very much the pearl in some ways. And yes, there are a lot of white men with the young Haitian girls. And many of them are European, and I don't mean to say anything against any color at all, or a lot of them are French Canadian because French Canadians speak French and Haitian girls speak French as well. Zig says, what is this? Malcolm says, I was there during the pandemic. It was a curfew. I had a great time. I loved the curfew. Like, I don't understand. Cleasy says the Pearl of Caribbean. That's a stretch. Jonas says I saw women that pimp out girls. Yes, there are. See, now this is a very good point. I'm going to get back to that because I want to get down the list here. But remember, I'm putting a pin in women pimping out girls. They starve it out for real estate. Yeah, the white guys love the Haitians. Yes, the travelers will need to spread the points of interest. Yes, spread your point of interest, says Stray Python. Okay, let me see. So Sosua isn't going anywhere. You're right, Malcolm. Long as beach is there, it's always going to be here. That's right, Bill. Um, okay, wait. Let me see. I'm not even close to the bottom, but I don't need to read every comment. I can see you guys are um talking there. And Alan Lawson, a liberal from Canada, you were very rude on one of my comments. Let me tell you, brother, very rude. I read all my comments on my videos. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. You're one of those white men from Canada. Let me tell you something. Somebody put a comment on one of my videos and they said, I don't know who this woman is. What is she talking about? Why is she taking up for these passport brothers? Who is she? She's a fat. I don't trust her, blah, blah, blah. And you, I think I know you from Facebook or from somewhere, or you've been on my channel for a while. You're like, oh, she needs to be careful. She's just there because she can't leave. She's been there so long and she's not a resident and she can't pay the exit fees. Are you crazy, brother? The exit fees right now after 7 years would only be about 1,000 American dollars. Like, what are you? Either foolish or broke pocket. Do not do that on someone's comments. And the only reason why I'm regulating you is because I thought I knew you. I thought you were one of the people that I can be like, hey, brother, I don't know you on the streets or anything like that, but I recognize your name for years. I recognize your name. I've had this channel here in the Dominican Republic for 7 years. I recognize names when I see them. I read all my comments. So don't try to beat someone up in the comments and join some negative, nasty bandwagon. If you want respect and you want love and you want people to come together, then make sure you do the same thing. And then you come on my feed now and you're talking this, whatever. Now you don't seem so negative. But yo, like, people see things and your character speaks volumes. So, no, the authorities are not after me here. They quite like me here. I had a whole entire television show here. They know me here. I'm friends with the mayor, okay? And other politicians are my friends on Facebook, all right? They know what the situation is here. And if you just look up exit fees after 7 years, and I tell everyone that I've been here for 7 years, my 7 year anniversary came and everything just the other day. If you look up 7 year anniversary, if you look up 7 years in the Dominican Republic, it's probably only going to be about $1,000 to leave. That's nothing. That's nothing. After living in a country for 7 years and only have to pay $1,000 to leave, that's nothing. So that's just such foolishness. Alan Lawson, smarten yourself up. I can't respect you. You want a liberal from Canada? And you, please. Apartment R, Passport Brothers strike again. Alan, no, Germans love Haitians. No, French Canadians, white men from Canada love Haitians too. Yes, they do. Maybe you don't, but I don't know. But yes, white Canadian Frenchmen love all of the Haitian women too. They go for Haitian women before they go for Dominican women because they speak French. JD, you are a wise woman, a nice woman. Thank you, JD Moore, but probably not right now. Nicole, you're so right. Straight Python, no Cerise. Hydroponics is just farming using water. Oh, I thought it was chemicals. Okay. Jonas, Passport Brothers didn't ruin anything. Juggy, hemp is awesome. Nicole, backwards for sure. A liberal. She wished she could vote for Kamala. Alan, I'm gonna do you a huge favor right now. how about I do this? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do first, okay? And then you can go run your mouth off on someone else's channel and go try to badmouth someone, because you know why? My name will always be vindicated. You're a fool, brother. And I have no time for fools. And when someone argues with a fool, they become a fool. So I'm not going to even have you on my channel right now. I'm going to block you from my channel because I have the ability to do that. And I don't like your character. So we have Gary. I'm sorry, guys. Um, you know, um, I don't like to be negative, but when there is a fool in La Casa, I like to just, whatever, whatever. Okay, he's done. He's blocked. Jonas, family don't spend money. The single guys keep businesses open. That's very true. Adventures of Pac and Pop. Pac and Pop? Do you mean like Tupac? And miss it there already. Uh, you look like Mayor Bass. Who's Mayor Bass? Okay. Oh my God, you're so pretty. Alan, message hidden because I blocked him. Nicole, there are so many flights from Toronto to Puerto Plata from now through August. There are many flights from Toronto to Puerto Plata from now through August. Interesting. A lot of people can't find them. Well, a lot of my people. Antonio Johnson, I think the girls will be more likely to move to Puerto Plata, the Malecon, or online to places like Dominican Cupid or Tinder. It's a win-win for us. No worries, guys. I really want to talk about that um, because I really want to talk about that. There was another thing I wanted to talk about as well. Can you guys remind me? I want to talk about that, moving online, and there was something else I wanted to talk about. Um, and let me see. Nicole, thank you, sweetheart. Bye with your bad vibes. That's right, Nicole. He's just a little man looking for attention. Bavaro 1075 said. Aussie says blocked. Yes, he's blocked. Okay, I'm at the bottom. My dogs are Pac-Man and Poppy. Oh, your dogs are Pac-Man and Poppy. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Nicole says yes. Robert says, is the Haitian spot on the beach still there? If you're talking about finger. And Cleasy says, Nicole, show me. I see nothing on my calendar. If you're talking about finger, Robert, I don't think so. There has been some things going on about him that he went to jail. I don't know, so I really don't want to talk about it on my behalf. But I heard he got 8 years. It just sounds really absurd. I could never see someone getting 8 years unless it's like murder or something. But or attempt it. But I don't know. You would have to ask someone else, but maybe I can check around for you guys. And the next time I do a live, I'll let you know. So this is the new thing, guys. Um, I listen to you guys. I do. I listen to you guys. I love all the suggestions you guys give me. When you guys asked me to bring back story time, I brought it back full force, and it's every Thursday. So I love that you guys love story time. I did stop it for a little while only because I just thought maybe I was like just talking so much negativity. But then every single time I was walking up and down Pedro Clisante, everyone was identifying me with the story time girl. They're like, you're the story time woman. Like, you're the girl that does story time. And I was like, wow, for months. And then so finally, when you guys started to ask for it back and I did it, I brought it back full force. And I realized it's not negative because a lot of you guys say that you gain knowledge from it. And so that's always something positive. So that is the feature that will always stick and stay. But someone else had asked me to start doing news and do like Dominican Republic news updates and just like give out like do a live and talk to you guys like this. So that's what I thought I would do today and every Saturday moving forward. I'm going to do like the Saturday scoop. I was going to call it Sosua Scoop, but I decided to call it Saturday Scoop. Do you guys remember when I used to do Sosua Sundays? And I would go on Playa Sosúa, and I would be on the beach on Playa Sosúa every Sunday and do a nice live for hours. It became a little hectic to do because, of course, I would take my dog, and of course, I would have to take it became like an excursion every Sunday, and it was a lot, and it was a lot. And I loved you guys and talking to you guys, but it just became a lot. It would be good if I was just sitting like how I am right now at home and just doing my own thing. So now I'm going to do Saturdays. Every Saturday I'm going to bring you the scoop. So with that being said, I'm going to read you guys a little bit of the news that's going on right now locally. Now all the news that I'm getting right now is from online sources. Okay, so I just want to tell you guys that, and you guys can find all this news online. Lucas says, I am a Lithuanian. I don't know. We don't have that here, Lucas. We just don't have that here. Like in downtown Toronto, there's a spot for that, but we don't have that here. Um, we have obviously we have people that is interested in just everyone, but it's not segregated. It's not like you don't go one place for a certain type of gender. Before I get into the news, I just want to scroll back up because there was something that I did want to talk about, and I said I'll put a pin in it, but I forgot. There were two things. um I need to make a list the next time because those were good questions that you guys asked. Oh, we have Randall. The man says, I'm Persian, was born and raised in Toronto, and lived in Sosua Cabarete from 2012 to 2014. And yeah, so many crazy stories. One US man flew back to the States after cutting a person to bits in their flat. Oh my gosh. Superman brother says, Cerise, I love the way you vibe. That's exactly the reason I travel. Thank you, sweetheart. Um, Tone Polo Travel Solo says, I got a funny story time. All kinds of things happen in Sosua, far from the strip, and it's unbelievable. It's so true. V Dubia, guys here say that American women are difficult, so they get passports. You know, let me see. Cerise, very disingenuous for you to say that men put the girls in bad situations. Ah, did I say the men put the girls in bad situations? No. If I said that, that's not. I said the opposite. The women, the women do things that um that need to be regulated. I'm pretty sure if I said that, no, not at all. I don't think the men do that at all. Let me clarify that because it's not disingenuous. Um, I actually think that the women should be regulated because they are very free and very available to do things to the men who are very vulnerable when they get here. A lot of men come here and they are very giving. You know, they saved up for their vacation. They came with a certain amount of money. They meet a girl, they catch feelings, they let her go to their Airbnb, their hotel room, and maybe he's here for a month, and after a week, he starts to trust her. And then all of a sudden he grows feelings for her, and then even after he leaves here, he's taken advantage of because his heart is beating so deeply for her, and he becomes a Western Union poppy. Right? I would never ever say that the men don't treat the women right, ever, ever. So if any of you guys got that on this live feed, I stand corrected. And if that is something that I said, I'm so glad that it was brought to my attention because I wouldn't want any misunderstandings at all. I stand on the ground where I know that these women are very fortunate to be treated the way they are by a lot of men that come here. A lot of the men that come here are so solid, and a lot of the men that come here are just so kind. they're kind to these ladies. They bring gifts, they bring money, they bring their hearts. A lot of them. Some of them, of course, they're only coming for one thing, but they're not coming here to take advantage of that one thing. They have to pay for it, you know? So, and some of them, they pay a lot, and and some of them don't. They would strike up a good deal, but that's just between two adults, whatever that deal is. But no, I don't think any of the men that come here, in my opinion, try to take advantage of the women at all. I think it is actually quite the opposite, to be honest with you. And yeah, there was one guy that came here before who actually, Persian. Do you speak Farsi? But you said that a guy came here and chopped someone up and left. Do you guys remember when that guy was here? He was from, I think he was from Africa, or he was African descent, but he was in the army before, in the United States at one point or something. And he killed the prostitute. That was like in 19, I mean, sorry, that was in 2019, I believe. And he took her to the hotel room. I believe it was, so it was near Playa Alicia. It was a hotel near Playa Alicia. He took her in for the night, and then he took her out in sheets out the front door. And the security guard caught him because he was like literally carrying her body out wrapped in sheets. And you can tell that it was a body. And he got charged. Sorry, guys. My battery ran out. I don't know how I get the energy to do all of these lives, and they're so long, but my battery ran out. Um, hey guys, okay, my battery's not gonna last very long, but I just want to say I see you next Saturday for the Saturday Scoop. All right. Um, let me see. How did Alan get back on here? Okay, guys, I'm gonna see you guys. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start a new live from my other cell phone. So just give me a second. Come pop over on my other cell phone just so I can finish telling you guys about the story of what's going on in Sosua in regards to not just Sosua, but also some news.